What's up, Call of Duty fans? Welcome back to another recap, but this time focusing on the Challengers scene. I'm iHold Shift with you, and in case you missed this past weekend's amateur action, well, you missed out on this weekend's amateur action. It was a very fun weekend, and just as kind of a recourse for you in case you don't know what the Challengers Cup is, every weekend that there is an off weekend, there will be these 50,000 pro point on weekends for the Challengers. We'll be playing regionally in these tournaments that form over 2 days to determine who potentially is the best team in the region, if not conversationally in the world. So amateur teams, open signups all the way across the board. This is what happened in APAC. Renegades and Mindfreak have historically been the top 2 teams in the Asia Pacific region. That would continue to be the case as we found them in the winners bracket. But our number 3 team, who did not have the ability to start up from the Chicago home series weekend last weekend, Rip Nation, also found their way back to the top 4, facing off against the Japanese juggernaut of Libelant Vertex. Didn't get a chance to cast this one live on the Sunday broadcast, but did get a chance to watch this one go through. A very tight matchup in the bottom side losers semifinals between Rip Nation and Libelant Vertex. This time through, though, it would not go the way of the Aussies. The Japanese would be able to take things in game number 5, whereas in the winners finals, Renegades again continue to not have much of a problem with Mindfreak with their 3-0. The losers finals would then see Mindfreak play up against Libelant Vertex, and the first map was not so great for Mindfreak. They got smoked on Gunrunner Hardpoint, but then things would turn around from there as Libelant Vertex didn't have the response for either the Search or the Dawn, and then there was another tight hardpoint at the end, which Mindfreak was able to take, which would give us another rematch between Renegades and Mindfreak. This one, for all intents and purposes, was closer than any other instance that I've seen these two teams play, as the first opening hardpoint was Hackney Yard. It'd be a 6-point game, as Renegades were just able to squeak one off, 250 to 244. Then beyond that, the Search and Destroy was an extremely back and forth affair. This is where our broadcast coverage did in fact start for you, by the way, and where you can expect to see the broadcast coverage start every time we do one of these 5 cups on the Call of Duty League YouTube channel. This one would go to round 11, in which Mindfreak were able to find themselves on top. You were thinking, okay, close hardpoint, close Search, this is going to be a very tight series. It really wouldn't be from there on out. Hackney Yard domination, 188 to 127 as Renegades roll through no problem. And then the Petro hardpoint, once again, Renegades just too strong for their Aussie counterparts in Mindfreak, who they are playing better, to be fair. Matchup was closer. They're getting stronger. They're growing. But at the same point, this Renegades team is by far the best team in APAC. They had a top 6 finish at Minnesota. They have not lost a major quote-unquote event versus the Mindfreak squad at any point throughout the year. Maybe a 2K here or there, but let's be honest, we don't really look at those as seriously as we do these online home series. So Renegades stay undefeated and are looking like a major threat to potentially be one of the best teams in the world, which kind of brings me to a next point. Again, if you're looking to follow along with these amateur teams, there will be events that happen every single weekend from here until July 25th. All of the CDL home series have amateur tournaments that are going on at the same time. And then, like I mentioned, on the off weekends of CDL, that's when you can expect to see these more large cups come into play. All of it concluding with a hopeful amateur finals at the very end of the year. So make sure you keep your eye out on what's going on in the amateur scene. Let's transition over to Europe, though. Again, just a small reminder that Singularity, who had been in the North American scene for the last month and a half or so, had finally returned back to Europe on Monday of this past week. And so they would be participating this most recent weekend in the European side of the Challengers Cup. Beyond that, before they were able to come back and while they were in North America, it had mostly just been Team War and a team called the Plugs or the Connects, also known as the Royal Ravens Academy team, as they have been going back and forth between first, second. Singularity would throw a monkey wrench into the system, potentially. Getting into this week, as you see our top 4, Singularity and Team War would be playing in the winners bracket. The Plugs, again, the Royal Ravens Academy team essentially, would be playing up against Trainhard in the losers semis. Trainhard, most notably, consisting of Whalers and some of the boys that are from that French squad of Overtime and Denial. They've put together a more international roster and have been sitting as the number 4 team throughout pretty much all of this interaction that we've had in the online series. How would this one fare out, though? Well, the Plugs wouldn't have too much issue with Trainhard, who played well throughout 4 maps, but just could not quite get things done versus, again, mostly what is the Royal Ravens Academy or sub-roster. And then Singularity and Team War would see one go all the way to Game 5, as we really just went back and forth. It was Team War Map 1, Singularity Map 2, Team War Team 3. Singularity game 4, and then eventually Team Moore won game number 5. And the only one that was really all that close was the Ramaza hardpoint in map number 4. So we would see Singularity, they'd drop to the losers finals, they'd play up against the Plugs, and then it'd be Team Moore awaiting the winner of those two. So would Singularity be able to find a rematch versus Team Moore? The answer would be yes, but it would not be definitive. Singularity and Royal Ravens Academy, Plugs, whatever you want to call them, would go again very back and forth throughout this series, but again, at the end of the day, it would be Singularity who actually take a reverse sweep versus the Plugs, a very tight first hard point on Azir Cave. They would then get smoked on Ramaza Search and Destroy, which is very strange to see, but then a 11-point win on the Hackney Dom. They had a 250-232 win on the Petro hardpoint, and then they would eventually win things out. Map 5 for the reverse sweep on the Petro Search and Destroy. So we would Team War versus Team Singularity. Moving for the grand finals, could there be a reprise here for Singularity? The answer would be no, but it would take 5, and they would be 5 very, very close games all the way through. But at the end of the day, Dave and Team War looked just too strong as they would take the first hard point, the second hard point, and the map number 5 in round 11. A very entertaining series, definitely one to go back and rewatch if you're looking to see how exactly these guys are faring throughout their time, not just in North America, but for Singularity now as they're moved to Europe. What does the competition look like? And I will say this much. With how many teams in Europe that just stick together and just try to work out all the wrinkles, iron things through, make things as smooth as possible, don't make radical roster changes, I would be willing to say that the top 3, top 4 teams in Europe are currently looking better the top 3, top 4 teams in North America. That said, and what you'll hear from me here now as we talk about North America, is that there is a deeper pool of teams and individuals that are looking good in North America. It just comes to at the top, I don't know about that. Europe is looking very, very strong at the very top, and it'll be interesting to see what some of these newly formed rosters in North America end up doing, if they can even stay together in the first place. Going over to what happened there, Wester, which again has now formed Jintroid into the mix instead of Parasite after all the drama that happened between him and Zaptius. They would be playing up against Parasite's new team, which had Willett and Charles and Stamino and people like that. It was going to be a really fun winners finals to be sure. But on the bottom, UYU, who fell down to the losers bracket very early, was also playing up against Get Busy, a team that also fell to the losers bracket very, very early. Save you the bread on the top one. We'll start with the losers semis first. A very tight series between UYU and Get Busy. UYU did not look very great on Saturday from what I was told. I didn't get a chance to watch them all that much, but they looked much better here versus Get Busy. Just not enough to take it, as it would go map number 5, round 11 on Arklov Peak, in which Get Busy were able to take it. A very fun series there that went all the way through 5. But for Wester, and is what it is, it was Wester all the way through. You just kind of felt like Wester was going to come out hot versus this team, and they did. 250-190, 6-4 the search, and then they won. I didn't get a chance to see the domination. It was played at the same time as the grand finals of Europe, but it was a 3-0 for Wester, which would send It Is What It Is to the losers finals versus Get Busy. And this was by far one of the most intense series I've ever watched in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. First 2 maps, maybe not so much, as Parasite's squad was able to take the Petro hardpoint and the Arklov Peak search. But it was looking like it was going to be a 3-0 for It Is What It Is in the domination, played on Gunrunner. 2 minutes or so left, about a 50-point lead for the side of It Is What It Is. Get Busy would trap up It Is What It Is with a 3 cap for the better part of 60 to 70 seconds, a full minute plus that they had all 3 points captured. The comeback was looking real, and it would come true as they take it by a very slim margin, but in dramatic comeback fashion. It wasn't going to be done there. Again, reverse sweep would have to be in the cards here for Get Busy. Hackney Yard would be map number 2. And once again, coming down from being down early, Get Busy was forced to make a comeback, of which they were able to do the tune of a 250 to 223. Piccadilly Search. How about around 11 for the boys? Get Busy able to find it and take the reverse sweep versus It Is What It Is. It would put them up against Wester in the grand finals, and I wish I had better news as far as how this series went, but definitively all the way through, Wester had no real problem. A couple of tight moments, but no real problem, being just a touch ahead of where Get Busy was. So your champions would be Wester in this one. And again, like I mentioned, this is not just it for challengers. There are things going on every single weekend between now and July the 25th. Most immediately, CDL Florida is happening this next weekend. Every single one of these challenger regions will be back in action once again for a smaller prize pool, and it'll be happening simultaneously of the CDL games that are happening. But I imagine you'll be able to find some coverage through individual perspectives on personal streams, or I know there are some people who are going to be trying to look to jump in and cast some of those games as they go. So if you're invested in the challenger scene, hopefully you'll come back here to Checkmate Gaming to hear more about what happens. And beyond that, we will have power rankings coming out tomorrow and predictions past that for the CDL Florida weekend. Don't go too far. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on your way out here for more Call of Duty content with Checkmate Gaming. Until the next time, hope you guys keep holding it down. So long.